What is up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Franca and I'm glad you're here. Same day, different part of the lawsuit. Let's get into it. Consistent with her pattern of vindictiveness, as the premiere of the film approached, Lively instructed Sony that she and the cast would not participate in any marketing or promotion of the film alongside Baldoni. She made certain that Baldoni was removed from all artwork for the film, posters included, and stripped him of his A Film By credit. Furthermore, Lively and Reynolds unfollowed him on social media, as did the author of the book, someone whom Baldoni had maintained a 5-year personal relationship, and for whom Baldoni created this opportunity, and other cast members, creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. It became clear that Lively was working diligently to contrive a narrative that would explain why she took over the film and exiled Baldoni. Baldoni had no intention of ever making this information public ever, as originally intended, gave Lively full credit and praise, and wanted the film to succeed. He wanted to move on. Lively, however, refused to let it go. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agent at William Moore's Endeavor and demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. The wielding of power and influence became undeniable. Baldoni and Wayfair grew increasingly fearful of what Lively and Reynolds were capable of, as their actions seemed aimed at destroying Baldoni's career and personal life. Lively systematically excluded Baldoni from all marketing and promotional efforts with her and the cast for the film. He was not invited to any cast promotional events, cast screenings, premieres, photo shoots, or other cast campaigns. Baldoni was marginalized from the marketing process and left in the dark about the purported marketing plan, allegedly created by Lively and Sony, which was later referenced in Lively's CRD complaint as agreed to by all. While in Sweden, celebrating his wife's birthday, Baldoni was informed that Lively demanded he not attend the film's premiere on August 9, 2024. Lively further threatened that if Baldoni attended the premiere, she and the majority of the cast would boycott. It remained unclear what Lively had communicated to or promised the cast, but they now also refused to attend if Baldoni was present. The fact that Sony advised Wayfair to concede underscores Lively and Reynolds' immense power and influence. Baldoni and Wayfair refused to succumb to the bullying tactics aimed at preventing them from attending the premiere of their film, a project they had financed, produced, and owned. This threat marked the culmination of a year-long campaign of intimidation and harassment. Although objectively egregious and shocking, the Wayfair team had unfortunately grown accustomed to the bullying, fully aware of the immense power this couple wielded and the far-reaching extent of their influence. However, they refused to concede to this demand. Just days before the film's premiere, Baldoni was still unsure if he would even be allowed to attend. His friends and family, many traveling from outside of New York, were left in limbo, unable to finalize travel plans or book flights. Finally, through Sony, Wayfair persuaded Lively to permit Baldoni and the Wayfair team, along with their friends and family, to attend, through only under demanding and humiliating conditions. They were relegated to a separate theater to view the film, required to arrive at a different time than the rest of the cast, and instructed to leave the venue immediately after Lively arrived. Baldoni was also excluded from the official celebrity after-party, despite it being an event paid for by Wayfair. As a result, Baldoni had to quickly organize and personally fund a separate after-party for himself and the Wayfair team, forcing the company to cover the cost of 2 events, one for Lively and one for their own friends and family, crew, and team. I'm so petty that if I was Justin and I paid for this entire party for all these celebrities, I would have last minute hired a bouncer. Put none of these celebrities' names on it and just have his family be there. Because you paid for that, SHIT. And have that moment of like Blake going up to the bouncer and being like, this is my party. This is for me. He's gonna say you're not on the list. Get out of here. So that's what I would have done. Maybe I'm just really petty, but that's what I would have done. She would have had no after party if she just stole this movie from me and I'm the director and making demands. Crazy. Upon arrival, Baldoni began participating in red carpet photos and interviews. However, his efforts were abruptly cut short when it was conveyed that Lively was on her way, and he was instructed to stop immediately. He and his family were quickly ushered away. Security personnel, acting as though there was a risk of escape, escorted Baldoni's group to the basement of the building. There they were confined to a makeshift area surrounded by a concession stand stock, with only fold-out tables and chairs arranged in a square. Surrounded by close friends, family, and soda bottles, and a lot of love, the irony of being held in a basement on what was arguably one of the most important nights of Justin Baldoni's career thus far. was not lost on anyone. Deemed clear of Lively and her guests, Baldoni and his group were ushered into a separate theater to view the film. At the conclusion of the screening, they were again quickly escorted by security out of the building to avoid even a chance of interaction with Lively and her guests. The Wayfair after party, held separately from the celebrity event, was a dry gathering, reflecting the values and the themes that Wayfair stands for. It was attended by the entire Wayfair team from Los Angeles and their friends and family. The atmosphere and tone of the Wayfair after party were aligned with Baldoni's vision for the film, focusing on celebration and gratitude. In the meantime, Baldoni was sidelined as Lively and Sony pressed forward with his original promotional strategy for the film. This plan outlined his initial proposal to Sony years prior, shared with Lively, and communicated numerous times to both Sony and Lively, centered on a partnership with the organization No More. Founded in 2023, No More is a global initiative aimed at raising awareness, inspiring action, and sparking conversations to end domestic violence and sex assault. Baldoni's collaboration with the organization began in 2022 and held a deeply personal significance. Staying true to his purpose for the undertaking of the film, Baldoni prioritized amplifying the voices of survivors of domestic violence. His effort reflected the heart of the film's story and its profound impact on audiences. He returned to the core reason for embarking on the project in the first place. His initial outreach to the author of It Ends With Us 5 years earlier, focusing on the film's message and its potential to create positive change. Baldoni poured himself into ensuring its success despite the mounting challenges. These genuine efforts aimed at amplifying the voices of survivors impacted by the film were later miscategorized and weaponized against Baldoni. The Times, failing to do its due diligence before publishing the article, describes these genuine efforts to bring attention to a serious issue as part of the calculated campaign to destroy Lively's reputation, and in doing so participated in destroying plaintiffs' lives. In direct response to Lively's oppressive tactics as described herein, Wayfair and Baldoni retained Nathan and Tag as a protective measure ahead of the film's premiere. Contrary to the Times' portrayal, Tag's engagement focused exclusively on defensive strategy and fact verification, though, as is standard industry practice, Tag prepared for worst-case scenarios. Based on Lively and Reynolds' prior behavior, no aggressive tactics were ever employed. Tag maintained this defensive position throughout its engagement, verifying facts and correcting misinformation without retaliation, a strategy endorsed by Baldoni and Wayfair in an effort to reprioritize the film's significant social message. Meanwhile, Lively's publicist Sloan launched a negative press push against Baldoni as early as August 1st, 2024. Tag was made aware of Sloan planting an unfavorable, false, and defamatory story about Baldoni's Baha'i, faith to Page 6. Sloan proceeded to feed false stories to the Daily Mail and the New York Post containing allegations that Baldoni was an sex predator. Sloan would also plant a false story alleging that there were multiple HR complaints during production. This, in addition to Sloan weaponizing Baldoni and Wayfair hiring Tag and Nathan. So this is from Leslie to someone. Yes, please, as thus info is all wrong. She didn't require script runs, nothing to do with this. She produced the film and got a cut. What the F is going on? The whole cast doesn't like Justin. Nothing to do with Blake. Then whoever she's talking to says, like I said, though, the reporting is that there were issues between her and Justin, as well as others, and that Justin found it difficult to work with her. One of these reporters, known, is close with Stephanie Jones because they used to always get Tom Brady, Giselle. And then Leslie says, I'm telling you, she's a liar. They are panicking as the whole cast hates him. Leslie sounds like a teenage girl in these texts, like talking about tea and drama. Leslie says, your story is mean. And then she goes, I guess you and Melissa are in cahoots. And then whoever she's talking to, I guess it's like a magazine or something or whatever. Hi, I reached out to you on Thursday via text, see above, to let you know that our reporter, Lillian, had sent some quotes and I was asked to write it. Included what they were. I ended up calling out on Friday so I could paint. So she ended up writing it. No putting blame on her, but the reason my name is also on the piece is because half of the reporting in it was mine, i.e. the following quotes below. And I do talk to Melissa, but she's in no way giving me any anti-Blake info. Blake's backlash is due to her own words and actions in the interviews. The only thing she told me is what she told you, and that this is organic. These were my quotes used in the piece. Yes, mean. Your quotes are kind and true. Tired of the bullying she hate. PP. That's what Leslie said. The other person says, I knew early on it was gonna happen, which is that the first time I called you before the movie came out, I'm trying to prevent anti-Blake BS, and I did for a minute. It was getting so bad for him, he had to hire Melissa. But then after that one interview where she said her GPS cell phone thing, it was obvious she was kidding. But it just snowballed and kept going and going. It will all turn around, you know, how to flip the script better than anyone. Leslie says, please make it turn around. I know you are friends with Melissa. And the person says, yes, we are. Leslie said, I'm not paid to take people down. I'm honest. And then the other person said, she hasn't done literally anything anti-Blake. KK, Leslie said. The other person goes, she told me the same thing, that Blake is backlash is organic. And then Leslie says, it's not. She did nothing but help get a movie make tons of money. Justin makes tons. And then the person goes, she was kind of off promoting it as if it was Barbie. It's just based on the things she said directly. More text from a reporter to the tag team. A source close to the set says they don't know if an investigation, but there was an intervention. We hear there were multiple HR complaints from crew and cast talking about the first day of production. In spite of Stallone's efforts to lambast Baldoni and Nathan, it was Lively who ultimately stirred her own public ridicule. Natasha something said, here's what's going on with the It Ends With Us drama. Carly Johnson, just a bunch of articles. Indeed, while Baldoni sought to focus on the film's central premises, Lively incensed audiences with seemingly flippant and tone-deaf remarks, encouraging viewers to grab your friends and wear your florals. Embarrassed by this self-induced backlash, Lively now seeks to vilify Baldoni in dubious attempt to resurrect her public image. While the Times thrust allegation of an offensive smear campaign concocted by plaintiffs, the incomplete and misleading evidence supplied by Lively, and one which the Times purports to rely, proffers a warped view of reality, setting aside the unscrupulous meaning by which the cited communications were obtained. The Times, as with Lively's CRD complaint, deliberately takes these communications out of context to bolster a fallacious narrative to squash plaintiffs. When viewed in full context, these hand-picked doctored communications lose their manufactured impropriety and disprove Lively's allegations. And then it shows more texts that were cropped by the Times to save space. I feel like this is just saying the same thing it said earlier. And then it just shows the messages and a bunch of excluded things, but they're too tiny for me to read, so we're gonna skip those. In the article, the Times writes, Lively's filing includes excerpts from thousands of pages of text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. These and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. However, the Times failed to review and/or investigate the plethora of communications demonstrating that plaintiffs had zero intent of smearing Lively and every intention of simply promoting the film and its messages. But they did come with a bunch of proof. Obviously I can't read these text messages because they're too tiny. And most of them are the same as above anyway, so I've already read through most of them. Worse still, there are documented communications overlooked by Lively in the Times that expressly refute Lively's accusations. By way of example, and then more texts. Though the Times admits that it had access to thousands of relevant text messages and emails, its skewed reporting makes it painfully obvious that it failed to substantiate the false accusations hurled by Lively. Indeed, the objective evidence refutes any allegation that plaintiffs engaged in a smear campaign to bury Lively and destroy her reputation. Lively's wound was entirely self-inflicted. That plaintiffs retained crisis public relations to defend against Lively's unrelenting assault does not change this fact. Curiously, neither Lively's CRD complaint nor the article make any mention of embattled publicist Stephanie Jones. Jones, former publicist to Wayfair, now insists that she was swept up in plaintiff's so-called smear campaign, and yet on August 14, 2024, Jones sent an email to Heath detailing her recommended strategy. And this is her suggested strategy. Flood the zones with positive. We need to ensure that we promote positive narratives that media outlets cannot ignore. Currently, most stories are heavily biased towards Blake's perspective, leaving Justin unrepresented. It's crucial that we fight for every inch of every story, which requires far more effort than typical crisis PR want to put forth in our experience working with specialized crisis teams. Prepare alternate stories. We should mobilize a robust network of supporters and third-party advocates ready to counter these narratives on deep background as well as some on the record, making it clear that the claims being made are untrue and unfounded. Wayfair later terminated Jones for, among other things, having allegedly leaked information to the Daily Mail despite specific instructions from Wayfair not to. Jones is notorious for exacting her revenge on any client brave enough to escape her grasp. Jones is equally notorious for her alleged maltreatment of current and former employees alike. Wayfair and Abel are no exception. It's hardly a coincidence that all of the communications on which Lively and the Times now rely on were purportedly produced by Jones' company, Jones Work. Pursuant to subpoena. The property of this alleged subpoena is unverified and at minimum highly questionable given Jones' involvement and the means by which Jones first obtained these confidential communications. Abel, a former employee of Jones Work, was forced to relinquish her electronic devices when confronted by a Jones Work security guard and attorney upon her separation from the company, 6 weeks after she had put in notice and shared her plan to start her own business. Jones, on the heels of a damning Business Insider article and hemorrhaging clients, insisted that Abel turn over her electronic devices to allow Jones Work to delete all confidential and proprietary information therefore. Though Jones initially agreed to release Abel's personal cell phone number, she renegade? Every time I see that word, I think of renegade instead of whatever the heck it is. 4 months later, Abel's text messages are now the subject of Lively's CRD complaint and the article. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that Jones invited the subject subpoena to circumvent her confidential obligations to Wayfair and inflict the most unethical form of revenge. Which I wonder if there's anything legally they can do. Because, if those are confidential, why can't she just give them to anyone? Crazy. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and comment down below. If you didn't, feel free to leave a hate comment. I'd love to hear your opinion, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.